Gen 3 OU is my favorite competitive Pokemon format, and it is home to some of the most creative players of all time. While some will play by the book, using tried and true combinations of Pokemon that are safe and reliable, many of the best players in this format are those that think outside the box. Not only do you see novel lower tier Pokemon being used in Gen 3 tournament games for their niche qualities that fill gaps, enable certain interactions, or bait the enemy in some way, you also sometimes see very out there move choices on standard Pokemon. A great way to catch the enemy off guard is to use a common Pokemon with unexpected tools. Let's take a look at some of the weirdest Pokemon and moveset choices that have been used in high-level games. But first, an exciting announcement. JimCool, have done something spectacular, a world-first achievement. I am the first person to ever play Pokemon Showdown on the Great Wall of China. In honor of this incredible feat, I hope that you can find a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Blissey is a Pokemon that you're probably familiar with. This is the premier special wall of Gen 3 OU, and one of the most common Pokemon at high level play. Seeing Blissey in a tournament game is one of the most ordinary things that can happen, and you do see some novel moveset options on Blissey from time to time, like Fire Blast, Sing, Counter, and Snatch. While these are more uncommon options, most experienced players are at least aware of them. But in a set for Kalos Invitational, the biggest tournament of the year, one of Gen 3's best up-and-coming players, Arctic, brought a moveset option on Blissey that shocked the world, and to my knowledge is the first time this move has ever been used on Blissey in a high-level tournament set.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary...
Blissey.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, Tail Whip, of all things, was used on Blissey. This was the first time I'd ever personally seen this move used at all in competitive play, and I, like many others watching, was flabbergasted. In the set, Tail Whip didn't even really achieve anything, aside from being used to skip turns and waste PP. But the reason for this moveset choice was actually quite smart. Sometimes in Gen 3 OU, sacrificing your entire team and being left with one Pokemon can actually be a win condition. If you only have one Pokemon left, Roar can no longer be used to remove your stat boosts, since you don't have any more Pokemon to switch in. Pokemon such as Suicune and Snorlax, if they're the last Pokemon remaining, can stack up boosts without getting roared out and win the game as a result. As a form of counterplay to this, stat dropping moves are sometimes used. Since they only have one Pokemon left and they can't switch out, they're unable to remove stat drops. The most common Pokemon to use stat drop moves for this purpose are Lunatone and Dugtrio. Since their main role is trapping specific targets, their additional move slots aren't as important, and can be used to improve your matchup against last Pokemon Suicune and Snorlax, without much downside. Screech or Metal Sound are often used to achieve this, and that's why Arctic used Tail Whip on Blissey. Without it, he'd be totally vulnerable against a potential last Mon Suicune. Wasting a move slot on Blissey is a much greater commitment, since Blissey has so many valuable utility and coverage moves that can be used in that slot. Arctic felt that covering last Pokemon Suicune was more important, and he couldn't fit a stat drop move anywhere else. Although it looks weird, and it didn't end up doing anything in the set, Blissey still did its job. The insurance against Suicune was worth the move slot sacrifice. Next up, we have perhaps the strangest team I've ever seen in a competitive game that somehow won. Super Epic Ampharos, or C for short, is a player known for using some pretty ridiculous strategies. A couple of years ago, he drew attention to the merits of Lantern in Gen 3 OU. In 2022, C was chosen to play Gen 3 OU in Smogon Premier League, the biggest team tournament in all of competitive singles. And in his Week 9 game, he brought a team that made him look like a bit of a lunatic. C brought Lunatone plus Exeggutor, special offense. Exeggutor is an uncommon choice in Gen 3, but you do see it occasionally. It has some good tools like Sleep Power, Sunny Day with Chlorophyll, and Explosion. Lunatone is what really stood out to me at the time I saw this game. What in the world does Lunatone do? Lunatone's stats are terrible, and its rock psychic typing isn't fantastic either. But Lunatone actually does have some redeeming qualities, and C did use it for a legitimate reason. Lunatone is actually a great switch-in against physical Salamence sets. Thanks to rock typing and levitate, you're immune to sandstorm damage, spikes, and Earthquake. You resist hidden power flying and can shrug off Rock Slide. And with access to Ice Beam, you force out Salamence by threatening a one-hit KO. Lunatone also has good ways to capitalize on this advantageous position, with Hypnosis to put the enemy to sleep, disabling them and giving yourself a free turn, Calm Mind to boost up, and Baton Pass to transfer those boosts to a teammate. Lunatone can actually fit on special offense teams that are weak to Salamence, which this team certainly was. Every single other Pokemon on the team is vulnerable to Salamence after it Dragon Dances, making Lunatone a good choice as a gap filler that improves this matchup and also fits with the overall plan of the team by disrupting the enemy, keeping up momentum, and passing Calm Mind boost to teammates like Zapdos or even Exeggutor. A team like this is never going to be a consistent choice. This team is insane. But sometimes throwing in a crazy team like this every once in a while can throw off your opponent and defeat them through sheer confusion, which I guess is what happened here, because C did win this game, admittedly with a bit of luck on his side. This has got to be the craziest team I've ever seen in a high-level game, and it was my personal introduction to the merits of Lunatone. Lastly, we have a team built around a very rarely seen Pokemon, with quite an interesting set that enables a unique style of hyper-offense. This team was built by Vapicuno, a player who has been around for years, since the net battle era back in the early 2000s. Vapicuno doesn't really play in tournaments, but he's well respected in the community for his team building skills, analysis of the format, and also having great success on the ladder with novel strategies. One of these strategies involved the Pokemon Swellow. When you see Swellow, you probably think of it as an offensive physical attacker that can take advantage of the ability Guts. That's how it's used in later generations. But in Gen 3, without Flame Orb to activate Guts reliably, it doesn't do very well in this role. It may be fast, but it lacks the offensive firepower or bulk to really get anything done. Vapicuno used Swellow on this team, not as an attacker, but as a support, with a very interesting item choice. Staff Berry. Staff Berry is an item that raises a random stat by 2 stages when the holder has 25% HP or less, not including accuracy or evasion. Swellow has access to Substitute to lower its health into range of the berry activation, and Baton Pass to transfer whatever boost it gets to its teammates. This on the surface may seem like it's just fishing for good luck, but on this team, Vapicuno has teammates that can benefit from whatever stat increase the berry happens to give. Heracross and Suicune benefit from speed. Heracross also benefits from attack. Jolteon, Suicune, and Swampert all benefit from special attack, and Suicune benefits from any of the defensive boosts. And what's nice about this Swellow is that it has another alternative plan if stat passing doesn't look like it'll work. Swellow also has access to Endeavor, an attack that deals exactly enough damage to the enemy to leave their HP stat equal to your own. Since Swellow can substitute down to 1 HP, it can set the enemy's health to 1, allowing any teammate to KO them afterwards, essentially using Swellow to trade, a useful tool for an offensive team. Swellow is the fastest Pokemon in Gen 3 with access to Endeavor. It can outspeed just about every relevant Pokemon in the metagame except for Aerodactyl and Jolteon, meaning it's pretty much guaranteed to either get an Endeavor or a Staffberry pass when it's in the lead slot. If you end up getting a Staffberry boost that seems bad for the matchup, you can just Endeavor instead and still get value out of the Swellow. This extremely dynamic use of Swellow that can shift depending on the matchup and various factors is without a doubt one of the most creative sets I've ever seen in Gen 3 OU, and Vapicuno has achieved impressive results with this team. He made a video back in 2020 explaining the team, with the goal of reaching 1500 ELO, but even as recently as 2022 he was using this team on the ladder, and ended up achieving a top 5 position, and an impressive rating of 1640. That's a tough accomplishment with an off-meta, novel team like this one. There are many more instances of creative Pokemon choices, moveset options, and team structures in high-level Gen 3 OU that I could highlight. Let me know if you enjoyed my showcasing of these weird strategies. In the future, I could even do a part 2, or showcase some of these examples in individual videos. Which of these strange strategies was your favorite, and what would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments. And thank you for watching. This video topic was the winner of a poll over on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who submitted topics and voted, and congratulations to DK Koba for winning the poll. Take a look at my Patreon link in the description if you'd like to suggest topics for my videos and vote for yourself, and also to appear on this tremendous end screen alongside your favorite Pokemon.
The money got different 'cause of what I'm spending. The money got different Cause of what I'm spending. The money got different.
It
Cause of what I'm spending. The money got different.